welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we're really excited today to be talking with Natasha Wilson, who's the star of Single and Ready to Jingle. It's just coming up on Lifetime channel. And thank you so much, Natasha, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited to talk to the fans. I'm excited to answer any questions you might have, and I have no bars. So
okay, good. Okay, good. Well, what we like to do with new guests to the podcast is get a chance to get to know you. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to get into acting?
Oh, that is a good question. So, what inspired me to get into acting? I think acting, it's about art and it's about truth, and it's about the necessity to tell the truth and from an authentic place. So I don't think it was necessarily acting that I wanted to get into. I think I just wanted to live in a way that just told the truth. Told the truth with music or with, design or painting or, but just expressed something that came through me to be delivered. And so with acting, it started off as, I don't even know, honestly, it just kind of happened in when I was really young. I was a kid, and it just was something for me. I grew up in such a strict environment that it was a way to be somebody else without getting in trouble for it because I was acting. So that to me was the freedom of expression. And then after that, it became a career just by chance. And it was something I fought for a very long time, because in my household, growing up, you don't become an actress, you don't go in that direction. But years ago, I let it. It is,
So did you like do plays and stuff in high school? Or was that?
Yeah, I did theater. I was always very interested in theater arts and music. That's kind of how it did kind of start along those lines. I remember being, the youngest one to take over a play that this one of the older kids at school, they'd been notoriously in every school play, and then I came along. I was the new kid, and she became my understudy, and it was like, what? Yeah. And that's when they were, and the theater teacher was like, yeah, well, this is your time. And that's when I realized that I might have some ability.
Yeah. So do you remember the play, what it was?
Arsenic in the Old Lace.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I just saw that not too long ago in like August.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love live theater.
Oh, where did you see it? Where were they?
It was just a local small theater company here in Utah, in Bluffdale, about 5 minutes from my house. It was really cool because it was an outdoor theater, because this was in the summer, and the whole thing was free, which is crazy, free. Yeah. And they gave popcorn and snow cones during intermission. I was like, this is great.
Oh, so it cost them money to put it on. What is sweet? It must have been a charity or something.
Yeah, it was just like a community event, kind of a thing. Like,
oh, that's so great.
Yeah, it was fun. But that's a very funny play. I think it's I mean, the movie's fun enough, with Cary Grant and everything, but I think the play's even funnier.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I just remember doing it and being like the youngest one in the whole play, and Mortimer, the guy who played Mortimer, was my best friend's older brother, and he was really tall and really gorgeous. And I was like, and I had to jump into his arms, and I remember, just going like, is this really happening right now? This is great. I can do this forever. But yeah, it was just such an amazing experience, and to also, to be in math class, but yet I'd have my play, my playbook, and I would just be memorizing. Yeah. I can't screw up. I can't screw this up. And that's all I focused on. I was obsessed with just making sure I didn't screw up, because it was such a big responsibility that they trusted me with. And I thought they saw more in me than I had seen in myself, at the time. So I really didn't want to screw it up, and I didn't want to disappoint anyone. But yeah,
if you got that understudy,
she quit. She didn't even. She was like, there's no way.
You got that person that's itching for the role. You gotta nail it. I mean, that's funny.
I think everything in divine timing. When it's your time, it happens.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's a lot of grace, to that. So I do feel grateful that everything kind of lined up like that.
Yeah. Do you remember your first role on camera that you ever had?
Yes. That's a tough one because the way things kind of unraveled for me were very just by chance. I wasn't auditioning. I wasn't actively trying to become an actress. It just always came to me.
Did you grow up in Los Angeles?
I grew up in New York and
New York.
and Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and a little bit in Montreal and Toronto, but predominantly New York, born and raised, and then the rest of it was mostly Vancouver, Canada. And I guess you can say I was kind of discovered and asked to come and visit, a set that was built for a mini series. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was called Christie. It was like a biblical series that Pax Network was doing here. They were an American network, and they were filming in Vancouver. They had
like Christie with Kelly Martin, Christie?
I don't know.
Oh, it's okay. Because I love that series. It's so good.
It was a mini series, and it was like a 20-year day type of series.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
It. Yeah, amazing.
Lauren Lee Smith played the lead, and I remember.
Maybe something different then. But yeah, I know Christie at least. It's a famous book.
Okay, well, it was my friend Tim Johnson was actually created the show and was repping the network. He was like the network dude, and he became my friend. I was working at a restaurant as a busgirl, and they were like, it was him and somebody else invited me to to just come to the set and check it out, and I was like, oh cool, I was a teenager, and I went, and I was just so blown away with the crew, the lighting crew, the camera crew, the makeup, like everybody was just, running around with some very important business that they had to do. And that I learned more about, like from the crew standpoint. So the director's assistant would pick me up every morning, and I spent 2 months going there and learning all about how a TV show is made, from a network perspective, from a director perspective, lighting perspective. And I would go knock on Lauren's, trailer and be like, do you think I can ask you a couple of questions about how you memorized your lines, and that's kind of how it started. I was there so often that they threw on some clothes and said, do you want to be an extra? And I'm like, sure, I'm here anyway, 16 hours a day learning. And then they said, do you want a line? And I was like, sure, what's my line? And it was, look over there. That was my first line. But it got me into the union. And from there, I started acting professionally.
Wow, that's so cool.
I was a total kid, and I did not know what the heck I was doing. I was just going with the flow of life, following the omens.
That is cool. So that kind of got you started. And then did you start sort of just auditioning for
no,
parts?
At that point, I had a theater teacher, in high school, who said there was an open call for all the high schools, kids to go out and audition for this movie of the week, and they were looking for high school kids. So I went, and I took a few friends with me, and we got there, and it was like hundreds of kids, right, just packed and outside, and I just thought, what the heck am I doing here? What am I doing, and then they asked me to read, the lines, and I looked right into the camera and I read the lines, and they were like, no, you have to look at the reader. And oh, okay. Anyway, I got the job. It ended up being it was a supporting lead. I didn't know what the heck I was doing on that set. I did not know how to act. I didn't know I didn't know anything technical, about, how to face your, I didn't know anything, but it was incredible because they believed in me. Again, people believed in me before I believed in myself. And after that, the casting director of that movie of the week hooked me up with her friend who was an agent. And then after that, like a month later, I got a lead in another, and it just started happening like that. It was the raw, it was just the rawness of being present. Sorry, I don't know how to turn these notifications off. But it was that rawness of just being present in that moment. And that's, I think, my primary talent, is just to be in the moment. And that's,
Yeah.
I don't know any technique.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
That make you more sort of empathetic when you see new actors and actresses on sets with you that you're like, I've been there, I know what you're going through.
Oh, I always invite, they're intimidated, right? Because she's a star.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, what's your name? Where are you from? Come hang out with me. And did they give you a smoothie? They gave me a smoothie. Let's get you a smoothie. Like, I want to make sure that they feel absolutely. If we're near a coffee shop, I'll say, let's sneak away from set and we'll go sneak off and have a coffee, and and absolutely make them as comfortable as possible, because it also strips away that hierarchy, which shouldn't, it's unfortunate that it's there, but it strips it down and lets them know, hey, I'm a normal human being, you're a normal human being, and let's make a movie together. Let's tell a human story together.
So do you kind of split your time between Vancouver and Los Angeles, or?
I'm primarily in LA.
In LA now?
Yeah. I went to university here. I went to Pepperdine in Malibu.
Oh, okay.
After that, I went to USC. So it's my home. But we shoot a lot in Vancouver. We shoot.
Yeah.
There's a ton of stuff that shoots up there. So I will go, and then I see all the friends and that.
Yeah. Did you do quarantine in Los Angeles then?
Not anymore. But did I do quarantine? Lockdown? Oh yeah.
Lockdown.
Oh yeah. It wasn't bad at all. Like everybody was out because of the weather,
Yeah.
Everyone just made the most of their yards and the gardens. I started my garden, at
nice.
That point. I was at the garden center and planting more stuff, and but then we have water restrictions now, so a lot of the plants, but yeah, quarantine was great here. You get to know all your neighbors, and it's just like, it felt like a village for a second.
It really was like a surreal experience. I mean, everybody's baking and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I know. Where were you for quarantine?
I was just here in Utah, and thankfully I had the podcast, because otherwise I would have been, because I live alone, so that would have been wild. I'm just glad that
you don't have a pet. Do you want to see mine? I brought my dog to Henning, my neighbor's house. Here, come here, Jet.
Oh,
where is Jet? Look who it is. He's looking out the window, going, "Who is that? Where? Who's that?"
Oh, there he is. Oh,
it's almost the size. It's almost bigger than mine.
What's the name?
Jet.
Oh,
that's
adorable.
Yeah. Well, that's how I stay sane. I have my dog. I take him for walks. I go to the dog park. That's like the best place on earth, is the dog park.
So was the thriller you did for Lifetime, the Deadly Dance competition, was that like one of your first ones out of quarantine?
No, I had done one before that called Secrets in the Mansion.
Oh.
And I think they changed the name to, they changed it to Secrets in the Mansion. What was the original name? That was 2020. That was actually during the time when most people were home. And we were extremely cautious.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, and it was really bizarre because you have I'm talking now, and like you probably don't know half of what I'm saying or the expression I'm trying to make. And how do you do that? Actors, just to
Yeah.
communicate, you need to, the way your mouth moves, or the way your tongue might do weird things, or half of that was missing during like rehearsals.
Right.
Because then we would take the masks off, and it was just like, oh my God, there you are. Or
Yeah.
you can't really take someone in when half their face is missing.
Right. That makes total sense to me. So what's it like being in one of these thrillers? Deadly Dance Competition. That sounds fun.
Yeah. Well, I played the mom, and of course, on the first day, they always seem to do this. Like on the first or second day, it's either the climax of the movie where you're like, you're almost gonna die, and oh my God, my daughter, or it's the kissing scene where you're just like so passionately in love. And
yeah, it does seem like they do those on the first day, which is really funny.
It is bizarre how it happens. And if these things happen later, if we could film chronologically, of course, I mean, that's asking a lot. But it would really, I actually wonder if it would, impact the scenes,
Yeah, because on one hand, you think that it would give more time for the chemistry to grow. But then on the other hand, it kind of breaks the ice. It gets things, there's sort of maybe an energy on that first day that they want. I don't know. It's interesting.
You know what? That's really insightful. Yeah, that's so true. Usually it's based on locations.
Sure. Yeah.
You have access to the location and the schedule and all that.
But it does seem like often the case. I've talked to enough actors who've said that they usually film the kiss on the first day, which is so funny.
First or second day, it is bizarre, and it does break the ice. It does break the ice. Maybe that is why.
Yeah. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the good folks at Baker Publishing Group. They have a special deal right now. If you go to their website, bakerbookhouse.com/featured/Hallmarkies and enter code Hallmarkies40, that you will get 40% off any of the books that we're talking about today. And today we are talking about sweet historical romances. This is the perfect book for the hearty in your life. If you have a fan of When Calls the Heart, they will love these books. First, let's start with Under the Starry Skies by Tracy Peterson. When an accident leaves Cassandra Barton incapacitated, she spends her time compiling a book of stories about the men working on the Santa Fe Railroad. But worry grows as revolutionaries set out to destroy the railroad. As danger intensifies, Cassie and her longtime friend Brandon must rely on their faith to overcome the obstacles that stand in the way. Next, A Model of Devotion by Mary Connolly. A brilliant engineer, Jilly Stiles, sets her focus on fulfilling her dream of building a mountaintop railroad and remaining independent. But when a cruel and powerful man goes to dangerous lengths to try to make Jilly his own, marrying her friend Nick may be the only way to save herself and her dreams. Next, A Daughter's Courage by Misty M. Beller. Charlotte Durand sets out on an expedition in search of a skilled artisan who can repair a treasured chalice. But her hike becomes much more daunting when a treacherous snowstorm sets in. When Damien Levette finds Charlotte stranded, they must work together to survive the peril of the mountains against all odds. A Gem of Truth by Kimberly Woodhouse. Longing for a fresh start, Julia Schultz takes a job as a Harvey girl at the El Tovar Hotel, where she's challenged to be her true self. United by the discovery of a legendary treasure, Julia and master jeweler Christopher Miller find hope in each other. But when Julia's past catches up with her, will she lose everyone's trust? Then The Lady of Galway Manor by Jennifer Dybel. In 1920 Galloway, amid the Irish War of Independence, the daughter of a British landlord becomes an apprentice jeweler to the descendant of the creator of the famed Claddagh ring. As the two learn to work together and see each other in a new light, they start to uncover the true meaning of love, loyalty, and friendship. And finally, The Secrets of Emberwild by Stephania H. McGee. Nora Fenton inherits a struggling horse farm and a dangerous secret from her father, one that new horse trainer Silas Cavallero threatens to uncover as he searches for the truth behind his own father's death. As the two grow closer over their shared passion for horses, the mysteries and dangers of the past loom closer than ever. So head over to bakerbookhouse.com/featured/hallmarkies to pick up one of these great books and use code hallmarkies40 for 40% off these titles from November 14th to December 12th. That's bakerbookhouse.com/featured/hallmarkies and use code hallmarkies40 for 40% off. So you were on Unreal for a long time and that had a lot of Hallmark talent, a lot of Hall stars in that one. So remind me what your character was on that. And
oh God, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're gonna go back into time.
Maya, right?
Maya. And she had in season 1, she had recently been engaged to someone who had broken it off with her, and she was, heartbroken, trying to get back out there into the scene, to find true love. And it was in a way for her to try to recover from that wound. And unfortunately, of course, it backfired because Maya was, I played her in a way that was very close to myself, actually. I'm not a big drinker. I'm not a big partier, and that's kind of how Maya is or was,
Right.
And unfortunately, in order to, it's like high school, and then Mean Girls, right? And unfortunately, in order to because we're all competing for the man, I had to kind of get into that competition in a way that just wasn't authentic to Maya, to me. So that's when I was, my character was taken advantage of. And
I remember, I actually do remember that. It's been a while since I watched the show, but yeah, I remember that.
It was hard to film that. It was devastating to film that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also the other actor, he had shared a story with me about a friend of his who had actually done something like that. And so it was just very real and very hard to film. It was very hard for the director to even, look at the footage that they were collecting because it was so raw.
I can imagine. Yeah, that would definitely be grueling. It must be hard being an actor and kind of processing when you have a tough shoot like that.
Yeah. Well, for me, I try not to anticipate it, even though I know it's going to be a hard day. I put together a soundtrack, that I listen to.
That's a good idea.
Music really helps to stir my emotions in whichever direction they need to go. When I have a character, I try to imagine what their home would look like, what their room would look like, what, not just their wardrobe, but, how they live, and also what kind of music they listen to, what art they're exposed to, if any. And so in this case, I was listening to London Grammar, yeah. And she had her first album out at the time, and it was really deep and impactful. And it got me to the place I needed to go to. And unfortunately, I don't go to those places very often. But when I do, it's very hard to come out of it. It's like we cut and I'm still crying, and because it's finally coming out of me after so many years of repression, or so it's real. It's very real.
Well, it's good that you have fun Christmas movies to dive into as well. Break things up.
Yeah. And man, this was my first single and ready to jingle.
Yes. I mean, it's amazing if you grew up in Vancouver, or if you spent a lot of time in Vancouver, that's your first Christmas movie.
Yes. And it was incredible. It was an incredible shoot. My director, Wendy Ord, a fascinating woman, Canada's very first AD. And she finally is like, and she's done many, indies and documentaries and such, including, starring in her own. And this to her, though, was just pure joy. She's just a little spitfire, tiny little, 5 feet tall, petite, ballerina type. And she is a force to be reckoned with. We had an incredible time working together.
That's great. I didn't realize that. How did you get involved in the project? Did you send a self-tape, or did they come to you?
No. Yeah, they came to me with it, and I read the script, and I was like, wait a minute, is she going to be in a bikini in the snow? Because we got to talk about this, you know, and then yeah, and she doesn't end up going to the, you know, I'm not going to give the movie away, but
Right.
Well, it was fantastic to work with Eddie as well, Eddie Ruddle.
Yeah. Well, why don't you tell us just a little bit about the movie?
So, so I play a character who, I guess I'm a corporate exec at a Christmas toy company, and you know, I'm in the innovation department and the sales. And I guess, I mean, we didn't really get into detail about the you know, exact specifications of my career, but I do know that I was sick of Christmas because the whole year all I'm doing is thinking about Christmas toys and sales, and and being number one, you know, our primary products being number one. So I'm in the corporate setting, and Christmas, the magic of Christmas kind of faded into the abyss because I was so primarily focused on, you know, what a corporate setting does to you, which is money.
Right.
And it took away from that magic. So I asked my assistant to book me on a trip. You know, it's the first year I'm just like, I can't go home for Christmas because my mom's going to ask me why I don't have a boyfriend again. You know, every year she's like, why don't you have a man? Why don't you have a man? So finally I tell my assistant, get me out of here. I need a break. I need a holiday. Send me on a singles vacation. I need to go to the Caribbean. Just get me out of here. So she books me on a flight to St. Martin. And she ends up booking me to the wrong St. Martin. St. Martin. Hope I'm right.
So it's like so you end up getting stuck in like this Christmas town, right?
Accidentally, she sends me to Alaska.
Oh, to Alaska.
I'm on this flight, and I've got my straw hat and my
Oh my gosh.
And I'm looking at get on the board the plane, and everybody's dressed in winter coats and winter hats. And I'm thinking like, what the hell's wrong with these people, you know? Anyways, and we land in Alaska, St. John. Sorry, not St. Martin, St. John. St. John.
Okay.
Alaska.
Oh, okay.
Because it's supposed to be St. John's, the Caribbean.
Right.
And we land there, and it's a blizzard and a storm, and I'm just like, what the heck? Okay, this has got to be a stopover, right? Because I'm supposed to be going to the Caribbean to meet hot men. Hello, I'm trying to go to a singles resort here. And I end up stuck there. And because of the snowstorm, I'm stuck. And I meet Eddie, Eddie Ruddle, and he essentially rescues me from being deserted in this snowstorm. And yeah, he takes me to the inn that they have that he runs with his sibling, and that's where everything kind of begins.
That is cute. That sounds fun.
Yeah, and the beauty of it is she goes from being this like corporate exec type, you know, very, very like very particular, almost LA. Like I kind of tried to bring the LA vibe in there.
Yeah.
And it's all slowly stripped down. She doesn't have the right wardrobe, you know, for the place, so she has to borrow clothes. So she's stripped of her, you know, her outer shell, right? And then the insides start to warm up, and she's restored. Her heart and the true meaning of Christmas is restored through this genuine family that takes her in and shows her what love and Christmas is really all about. And it's a beautiful story, and incredible actors and an incredible director. And we had amazing access to locations that were just phenomenal. The whole crew, everybody was really incredible to work with. It was one of my favorite films that I've ever made.
Was this in Vancouver that you shot it?
It was in Kelowna.
Oh, okay.
Like 5 hours north of Vancouver. Yeah. And being in LA, it was 80 degrees here, you know, and get to Vancouver, get in the rental car and drive straight. And I had my dog Jet with me, and we opened the door to get out, and it was snowing, and it was like, I opened the car door and I'm like, whoosh, I close it. I look at Jet, I'm like, what are we doing here?
So this was filmed in winter.
It was filmed in February.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
It was really snowing, and it was really freezing, and I was really straight out of LA. It was actually a hot February in LA.
Yeah.
It was
Well, I mean, that's good. That helps you to get into character, I would think, because you're not filming in July
exactly.
like a lot of these are.
Yeah, well, Unreal, we would film in November and we were wearing bikinis,
Oh,
in
right.
Canada. So certainly I was prepared for the worst. It wasn't that bad. There were a
No.
couple of scenes, where I'm the initial scenes where I'm in my dress and at the airport and it's snowing outside and everyone's looking at me like all the extras are,
Right.
how do you do this? And I'm like, honey, I've been through way worse than this. You don't even know. This is paradise. Don't worry. Even Wendy, the director, was like, Natasha, cut. She's like, cut. She come up to me, Natasha, you don't look cold enough.
Right.
Oh, okay. Okay, because I was so used to blocking it out, that I was
Right. Yeah.
self feel it. And then I couldn't warm up to save my life after that.
You got paired with Edward, like you were saying, in
Yeah.
this. And is there anything that you did to try to build a chemistry?
Oh, absolutely. Well, day one, I was like, oh God, who is this guy? He's always asking for lip balm, in between takes, he's like, he disappears. And in between setups, sorry, he'd take off somewhere and he's just like, oh God. I remember just going like, oh, male actors, And then we started an inside joke, myself and some of the crew going like, we just started recording him whenever he would ask for lip balm. And we were gonna make like a gag reel. But that was day one. Day two, we had our kiss, right? And he thought I was going to be a nightmare too, because I remember it's like, I'm very, very, when I'm on set, I'm working. I'm there, I'm dedicated, I'm helping whatever I can. If you got to move, like I'm right there. I don't leave except for to go to my trailer for my dog, right? For Jet, but I don't leave otherwise. I'm there. If you're looking for me, just look, I'm like right at your shoulder at all times. So, I remember telling Eddie, like, bro, can you just stay here in between setups so we can review, the next scene? And he'd be like, oh yeah, sure, But after that, he was inspired by my work ethic, he says. Actually, everybody was good because I'm so excited to work. It's my passion. And sometimes doing movie after movie, especially crew and maybe other actors, it's just one thing after another. And, they forget the reason why they even act, right? It's like a paycheck or, the heart of it disappears.
Sure.
So, and I'm like a kid in a candy store every time.
Yeah, he's like Napoleon Dynamite with that lip balm, huh?
Oh my God, he's gonna hate me for saying this. We're such good friends, by the way. Like I could probably put him on FaceTime right now. But so it started like that, and then we did the kiss scene, and I was like, okay. And then after that, I did break the ice, and we were staying in the same hotel. We were a few floors apart. And after he brought his espresso machine because he lives in Vancouver and he transported it. So I'm an espresso machine lover or espresso lover. So he would then start making me coffees, in the morning and come down and give it to me. But every night after work, after 14 hours or whatever, we would go back to my hotel room, review the scenes for the next day. We were shooting like 12 pages a day and go into every word. God bless you. God, go into every word, every piece of the dialogue, and we would tie it in. We would reread the script, and we just worked on this like, as if we had written it. It was just something so beautiful. After the initial idea that we wouldn't like each other, we ended up just absolutely adoring each other. And you can see it in the movie. You can see us just being so alive and so in the moment because we worked very hard on the prep. That's that. Great. Every night after we shot, we would go back to the hotel and study for the following day.
Yeah. Well, that's great. It sounds like this has a lot of comedy. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, it's
gonna be funny.
It wasn't written as a comedy. So, but just, I guess I think it just started as one because as I said, when we started shooting those scenes with the initial scenes at the airport, it was hysterical to me because it's like, I think I just tried, I brought a lot of, I think in my head, I just brought a lot of what an LA person would do, you
Mhm.
know? And
Yeah.
it just turned hilarious. And it almost turned slapstick. And then we had to
Yeah.
bring it back. I remember Wendy
Sure.
saying, okay, let's bring it back a little bit and, you know, blend it in a little bit. But the producer was just flying off of his chair. You know, he would just, he's like, I haven't laughed out loud during a take in years, you know? And so that was really nice that it ended up turning into a
Yeah.
comedy. And Eddie's really, really smart and comical. So sometimes we would tweak the dialogue to make it like extra witty, you know? So we
Uh-huh.
weave in little things or even some of the physical comedy. And so when the two of us worked together, we just created that. And it's really going to be great to watch. I can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah. Should be fun. Well, very good. We'll look forward to the movie.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Fun holiday questions to end the interview off with.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's hear it.
Ready. First question. What is your favorite holiday drink?
I actually like eggnog.
Yeah.
Is
Good.
that weird?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What is your favorite holiday cookie or treat?
Ooh, you know, I like fruitcake.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
I'm so boring.
Do you have a place in LA that makes good fruitcake?
I don't know yet because I've been in Europe for Christmas,
Oh, okay.
you know, and there's darn good fruitcake all over Europe.
Yeah, that makes
If
sense.
I can find a place that has European fruitcake, I'm there. If you know,
Yeah.
if anybody knows,
Yeah.
please
People listening, put in the comments if you know.
put in the comments. Yes, I'm
So
looking.
there's got to be a place. LA has everything.
I know. Yeah.
What is your favorite Christmas song or carol?
Ooh, I love Silent Night.
Mm-hmm.
I
Good
love
one.
Silent Night. I like Jingle Bell Rock so much. And I
Oh.
also like it's a Beatles song. So this is
Yeah, the Happy Christmas.
yes.
Yeah. Did you know that Silent Night was written for the guitar originally?
You're kidding me.
Yeah, it's a true story. There was a congregation in Germany that they were planning on playing on the organ, but then the organ got broken, and so then they wrote a song for the guitar.
Oh my gosh. Well, now I have to find the acoustic version of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, just to keep it authentic.
that's right.
Well, what's your favorite Christmas song?
I love Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Is my favorite kind of secular one. And then like religious one, probably What Child Is This?
Oh,
It's so good.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Do you go to midnight mass?
I have never been to midnight mass. I would like to go. And it's something I've thought about a lot of times, but I've just never done it. I'm not a traditional Christian. I'm a Mormon.
Mhm.
And so we don't have midnight mass in our
Community.
church, but
Yeah.
I would still love to go and experience it sometime.
Yeah, with all the candles and just for the
Yeah, it would be cool.
spirit of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
the big one here in Salt Lake, you have to actually get tickets for, because I looked into it one time, but I should look into it this year because
Hey,
that
you
would be
should do
fun.
it.
Yeah,
Just for me.
yeah, that would be cool. All right, next question: what is your favorite classic Christmas movie?
Ooh. Gosh. You want the truth?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't grow up watching movies
Yeah.
or television. But the only one that comes to mind is the Charlie Brown.
Yes.
Yeah, Charlie
That's
Brown.
so good.
Yeah, that's the one that I remember watching multiple times, like for multiple Christmases.
One of my favorites. Okay. Which do you like better, Scrooge or the Grinch?
Ooh, do I have to shoot this up? Ooh, this is tough. I like Scrooge.
Okay, good. Which do you like better, clear lights or colored?
I like clear lights.
Okay. Would you rather be in a snowball fight or build a snowman?
Ooh, snowball fight for sure.
Okay.
There's one in the movie, by the way. There is one in the movie.
Oh, good, good. Do you consider yourself a good gift wrapper or not?
Oh, I try to be, and I always seem to tear the when I do the corners and I tape it, I pull so tight that I have to do it all over again. So I think I'm good with enough practice.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. Do you have an ugly Christmas sweater?
I sure do. I've got a few because I know to wear them just throughout the year.
What's your ugliest ugly Christmas sweater?
Oh, it's pretty raggedy. It's something I've probably had for maybe 16 years. Yeah. And it's got all the threads taken out of it. And it's just a Christmas tree with different ornaments. And the star is kind of hangs out on the side.
Yeah.
It's one of those really atrocious ones that I would just wear in private.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good. Well, you did it. You answered all the questions.
Is that it? Is that all we got for Christmas? Oh,
congratulations.
More Christmas than that. Do you want to spend it with your friends or family? Are you going to be traveling anywhere? Do you put up a Christmas tree? Is it alive or is it plastic one? What do you have? I could go on.
Yeah, hey.
Dress your dog up. No, this year I'm going to have a real Christmas tree. The truth is I've never had a Christmas tree in my life.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so, it'll be really nice if I can. I always seem to be traveling, and this year I'll be away as well. So it's just, actually, no, this year I'll be here, but then soon after I'll be away. So I just feel sad to let a tree die.
Oh, yeah.
And then you drag it out and you throw it onto the street. I mean, that's so sad. So,
I just can't do a live tree by myself. It's too heavy and too difficult. Yeah. I tried one year and it was a disaster.
all the pine needles get everywhere. You're vacuuming everywhere.
It like fell over and then I couldn't. And so I was just getting more and more upset as I just couldn't get it to work. And then so I finally called a friend, the leader of our church. Of our congregation. I called him and I was crying and I was like, my tree. And he came over, saved the day. He had a saw and everything and he got it all equal. And I told him he saved Christmas.
Oh, I'm so glad you knew who to reach out to.
Yeah. But after that, I was like, I'm never doing a live tree again.
Yeah, that I think that's a pretty deep PTSD trauma.
Yeah, it runs deep.
Not revisit that for you.
Well, if people want to follow you on social media, things like that, how can they do that?
So I think it's official Natasha Wilson, or it's Natasha Wilson official. I actually don't know my 1 second, and I will tell them. I will tell you. It is. What the heck is my Instagram? I'm so bad at this. Where do you even find it? I don't even know where okay, wait. I can't even see anything here. Where do you find? Oh, official.
I see you on Twitter, just Natasha Wilson.
Yes, and my Instagram is official. Natasha Wilson, which you can't
good.
Backwards there. But yeah, and that's my picture. I look like that, and I've got red Christmas pants on. So there you have it. Okay, good. I'm not very.
Wow, we'll have all of that in the description so people can follow you. And thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you're welcome to. I've got a few movies coming out after this. I shot about 3 more after or something, 2 or 3 more. I can't even remember. So you're welcome to talk to me about those anytime you like after our Christmas lineup is done. And everyone should watch it. It's December 11th on the Lifetime Movie Network on Lifetime. The Lifetime channel. Or LMN, I think.
Oh, it's on the Movie Network?
I don't know, isn't it?
I think it's on regular. I think. Well, let me check.
Regular. The other ones always show up to the Lifetime Movie Network, so I've been told.
Yeah.
Tons
Let's
of
see here. Let me check.
Right.
Yeah, so it's on the regular Lifetime.
Okay.
On Sunday, December 11th at 8/7 Central. So definitely y'all should check it out. And thanks again for coming on. And I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy your tree.
Thank you.
And your dog.
And thank you guys so much for the interest. And I do this work for you. So it brings me great joy to know that people will love this. I know they'll love it because I saw the cut. And it'll get everybody in the mood. And feel free to send me messages. I think Brian Rubery, the writer, is going to do a live stream. And he's on Instagram, Brian Rubery. And it's his first script that's been made in 40 years of trying. So this is a big deal to him. And he's going to probably FaceTime me at that point as well. And then maybe I'll FaceTime Wendy. So we'll have a whole viewing party. So please tune in.
Yeah, great. Well, I hope you have very, very Merry Christmas.
God bless. I appreciate that very much. And you too. Please have a really heart-filled feast of a Christmas with all the turkey you can eat.
I'd like to thank Natasha for coming on the podcast. This was a lot of fun. She's got a lot of spirit. I really enjoyed talking to her. So let us know what you think of all the different things that we talked about. Love to hear in the comments section. And you can follow me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check that out. Also, make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod. Hallmarkies Podcast. Our Facebook is still down. So don't follow us there, but everywhere else you can follow us. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that. And if you are listening and watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have the Patreon group, which is a lot of fun, and the merch store. So check that out. You can still make your orders for holiday deliveries from the merch store this week. So please take a look. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to y'all later. And thanks to Natasha. Merry Christmas.